I'm gonna walk away and sit down again. Okay, so a couple weeks ago I read this article by Vox entitled "What Happens When Americans Stay in the Same House Forever." Basically, it was talking about how, you know, Americans used to move around a lot more. They used to change homes a lot more frequently than they do now. In the 19th century, for example, as many as 40% of Americans moved each year. In the 1950s, 20% of Americans moved each year. So on average, people would move houses once every 5 years, which is a lot. But today, less than 10% of Americans move each year. And while the correlation isn't direct, it has been theorized, and it was in this article, that people moving less frequently has led to the increased polarization and division in this country that we see today, which is concerning. So the other week, I was talking with one of my friends, and they live in a completely different part of the country. And we were talking about political things, and I was kind of amazed at how we were somehow able to not hate each other afterwards, even though we were having this controversial conversation. And it was really interesting. And I think the reason for this, which I talked to them about afterwards, was our ability to triangulate our opinions based off of other people. So imagine your opinion on one particular issue is a point on a graph, and then the opinion of somebody else that you talk to is another point on a graph. Now this point could be right next to yours, or it could be a million miles away from yours. There's a lot of different opinions out there. So if you just talk to this one person and you find that their point on the graph is really far away from yours, it could be really hard to relate to them on this topic. But then if you talk to more people on this graph and get more points plotted, it is easier to not only see where you are in the grand scheme of things, but it's also easier to move yourself. So it's really important when you're talking to different people to think of it not as like a battle to be won, like I'm gonna win this person over, move their point from here all the way to where I am. Instead, you should think about it as like, I'm using this as an opportunity to update my graph with either one more data point, or to update my graph and just move myself a little bit closer towards this person, or even a little bit farther away from this person because they're kind of crazy. So I think when you think about conversations and debates with that light, it's much easier to not hate the people that you're talking to, because they are not an opponent, they're just a point on a graph. So going back to the article, where Americans are moving less often, they're being exposed to less different opinions, that is a problem, but now we have the internet. And while the internet is not known for its amazing political discourse, we can still choose to use it as a tool for useful, engaging conversations, where instead of trying to beat people, we just update our graphs of the world. So instead of having to move every year to a new state to meet different people, you can have these conversations, update your graph on any particular issue, and become a smarter, more informed person without necessarily having to spend hours of your day reading the news or fact-checking yourself or fact-checking others, being like your own fact police. You can just talk to different people and figure out what is and is not close to the average. I'm going to stop recording now because I think that was pretty good.